Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So, a few videos ago, I talked about a new card game that came out just recently called KeyForge. And, I mean, it's kind of like a lot of the trading card games out there, except this one you don't actually trade the cards. You can't change the cards, actually. You buy them like this. You buy a deck, just like this, and whatever's in there, that's your deck, and that's what you play with. You can sell the deck or trade the deck to somebody else, and that's actually starting to happen now. I'm starting to see these all through YouTube, and people talking about it on forums and stuff about decks going online already, going for crazy amounts of money, because people are trying to figure out what the best kind of deck would be. Even though these decks are all random, they're finding out what the best types of creatures and combinations and stuff would make a great deck. So they're already projecting that this game is going somewhere. Whether it does or not, I don't know. I've heard there's other issues like fantasy. What is it? Fantasy Flight Games is the company that makes it, and I've heard some negative stuff about them. Mostly about supply and demand and messing up the game. So my first video, I just kind of briefed about the game. I just kind of brought it up to say, this game exists. It's kind of cool. So I thought this video, I just picked up 2 more decks. Apparently these things are flying off the shelf all over the place, and my local store still had some, so I thought, you know what, I'll pick up 2. I already have 2, which I was, play testing, trying out the game, seeing if I could figure out the strategies of the decks. So I thought, might as well pick up 2 more. And whether supply and demand happens and these things start skyrocketing or you can't get them anymore, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But anyways, I thought, this would be a good opportunity to open one of these up. I have no idea what's going to be in here. It's kind of like when you buy a booster pack. And if you're not into card games or trading card games, think of it when you buy a pack of hockey cards. You don't know what you're going to get. So this is like a deck that I don't know what I'm going to get. It's going to have its own unique name. And as you can see, the way they seal it, it's kind of all sealed up in there. You have to literally crack the box open to get in there. So you can't, you really just can't, open it and then not like it and then seal it back up. As you can see, it starts to go get wrecked and stuff. Even being careful, you have to be very careful if you were going to try and glue this thing back together. And I don't even know if it'd be possible. So I'm just breaking into this sucker right now. So you see, that's how you get into the deck. And when you pop it out, it's actually into a clear package. So now we have to be careful that I don't show you this this QR code on the back. That's how you register your deck. So just got to make sure you don't do that when if you're doing videos on this game or anything like that. I'm gonna try and get into this. I found that getting into the plastic on these ones was not easy. Got a little red strip there, and there we go. We're pulling on it. Yeah, see what I mean? There's a red strip there, and it's got a little pull tab thing that you could actually pull it, and it's open. So the deck that I got has 3 houses. Each deck has different houses. I don't know if you can see that. And its own unique name. So these are the 3 houses. So I got Aliens, Sanctum, and Shadows. And I think there's 4 more different houses. I think there's 7 in total in the game. But yeah, so you don't know what you're going to get. And this one has a different name too. So this name is Womplum, the Light Sculptor of Specimens. I guess they have like a random name generator where they have a whole bunch of words and they just kind of compile them together and make this, weird deck name out of it. But it's kind of cool. So I'm just going to go through some of these cards, just kind of show you, because I don't think I showed really on my previous video what the cards really look like. So this is the first card I have here. I don't know if the lighting is probably a little bit bad right now. So what these cards do, essentially, is each house, you have to declare which house you want to play each turn, and during that turn you can only play cards from that house. So if I say choose this house, which is Shadow, that turn I can only play Shadow cards from my hand onto the field, and I can only attack with Shadow cards or use Shadow cards during that turn. So that's what makes this game a little bit interesting, is that there's no cost to play the cards. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to discard anything. You don't have to do anything. You just drop them down. But the strategy is, which house do you want to use based on your hand and what you want to get into play. So that makes it kind of interesting. So this one is Silent Dagger. This creature gains Reap, deal 4 damage to a flank creature. Now, you have to obviously understand the rules, but essentially what it is it's Reaping is an effect in this game where you activate your card and you get what is called Amber. And the Amber is what you're accumulating to forge a key. At the beginning of your turn, if you have six Amber, essentially, you must forge a key. When you get 3 keys, you win the game. The other thing that's cool about this game is at the end of your turn, you essentially turn all your used cards, all your cards that you've used that turn or that have attacked or whatever, that are sideways, you turn them upwards, and then you draw your hand back up to 6. So you can play freely from your hand as much as you want, knowing very well at the end of your turn you're going to fill your hand up. And if you've played other games like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! For sure, playing all the cards in your hand might not be a good thing, because your next turn you're only drawing 1 card, and then whatever that is, that's what you're stuck with. This game doesn't do that. So you could play all these cheap cards and essentially refill your hand next turn. So this is a card called Shadow Self. This is interesting. He essentially all he does is he absorbs damage from other creatures. So when your opponent is attacking you, or attacking your creatures, I should say, they don't actually attack you in this game. He takes the damage instead. Kind of neat. I got 2 of them. Selwyn the Fence. That's a weird name. So just to also explain these cards, that's your power right there. That's the card's power. So he deals 3 damage, and that's his health as well. So if he takes 3 damage, and damage accumulates in this game, so when you take damage, it stays on him. So 1 turn he can take 1 damage, and then 2 more turns he takes 1 damage each, then he's dead. But you also have an armor over here, which absorbs some damage. So it's kind of an interesting concept, a little bit different than what you might be used to from Magic. So this one is Fight or Reap. Fighting is when he attacks a creature. You move 1 of the Ambers from your cards to your pool. So if you have Amber that's stuck on a creature, because some creatures have that ability to steal Amber, he can actually put it into your Amber pool, what they call. So we got Moon Cruiser. It's kind of neat. Steal 1 Amber. So this I guess house is all about stealing and capturing your opponent's stuff. Skeleton Key. So this is an action artifact card, I should say. Now, artifacts are a little bit different in that they come into play, and they're not creatures. They just sit kind of behind your creatures, and you can activate them on your turn. So this one, a friendly creature captures 1 Amber. That's that stuff you need to actually forge keys. So that's pretty cool. Again, you got, this is an action card. This is a card you would play from your hand, and then it just goes right into your discard pile. This one is Relentless Whispers. Deals 2 damage to a creature. If that damage destroys the creature, you steal 1 of your opponent's Amber. So this is actually a pretty decent card. You can kill a creature and steal their Amber. We got this action here, Poison Wave. I like the artwork on these cards too. There's another thing I need to point out too, is this card has a picture of a piece of amber underneath the symbol of what the house is. So that means when you play this card, you automatically get a piece of amber. And that happens on many different kinds of cards, whether it's an action, creature, artifact, or armor. Anything that has that in there, once you play the card, you get amber into your pool. And once you, at the beginning of your turn, if you got the 6 amber, you forge a key. So we got this Nerve Blast. Steal 1 amber if you do 2 damage to a creature. So you can see that the cards are pretty balanced. There's nothing like overly sick going on here. There's nothing like, broken in a sense. A lot of these cards are very, very like, 1 damage to a creature or 2 damage to a creature. They're not like do 6 damage to a creature, win the game, stupid stuff like that. This is an action. Kind of neat. Again, you get the amber when it comes into play. Play it, your opponent skips the forge a key on their next turn. Now, like I said, it's at the beginning of your turn when you can forge the key. So your opponent has one whole turn before you forge a key to do something, and this is something that they can do. They can play a card that prevents you from forging a key. Kind of buy some time. So the thing about this game is, unlike with, say, Magic the Gathering, where you're being aggressive towards your opponent, you're attacking your opponent, this one you're almost playing your own game here. You're almost just trying to build up the resources. The only time your opponent's going to interfere is if they're going to try and slow you down. The opponent isn't really going to win by just attacking you. They're just slowing you down so they can win. So it's kind of a different concept. Here's an interesting one. This one has 2 amber, so when I play this card I get 2 amber. And if my opponent has exactly 1 amber, I can steal it. And stealing it is basically just taking it out of their pool and putting it into mine. Very, very nice card, actually. Just so you know, though, I haven't actually gone and read all the cards in this game. I'm kind of just going as, you know, I get them in my own collection. I've seen maybe a few from videos and stuff, but I don't know all the cards. So it's really interesting to actually learn these cards as I'm pulling these cards in the pack. This is the Sanctum, I believe it's called. The other house that I have. So yep, Sanctum. Still learning all the houses and stuff. So this is an upgrade. And so what this is, if you've played other card games before where you actually play a card on top of a card, that's what this is. It's kind of like an equipment or an attachment. This also gives an amber, which is neat. So I'm noticing a lot of cards in this deck actually give amber when you play it. And this one gives the creature +1 armor, which is that other side, the armor on the creature. And it gives them taunt, which means essentially your opponent has to attack that creature, not the other creatures. Interesting ability. We got Sergeant Zakiel. Is that it? Zakiel? Have a neat. Like I said, the artwork in this is kind of fun. This game is not really meant to be taken that seriously. It's kind of, you know, they got a little bit of a joke going on some of the cards. Play. So when you play this guy, you may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. So, basically what that does is it allows you to play a creature from outside of this house. Because when I said when you choose your house, you can only play or attack from that house. This will allow you to bypass that. It's kind of neat. So if you have a different creature from a different house, you could attack with him on that turn. Oh, so I got 2 of them. And this is the other thing I was going to say about this game is each deck has its own strategy going on. You've got to figure that out on your own. And the only way you could do it is by like literally playing the deck and finding the synergies that are going on with the cards. That's it. I mean, you got to figure this out on your own. You can't just go online and look it all up. It's not this same kind of card game. So this is Jehu the Bureaucrat. 3, so he's got 3 attack. You know, you'll see all the attacks are different. After you choose Sanctum as your active house, gain 2 amber. Well, that's pretty cool. So he kind of rewards you for using his side. And the other thing is, each house, I'm going to say this as well, has 12 cards per house in your deck. So you get 12 of each house. So you'll always have the same number of houses and the same number of cards in a deck. This is Commander Remmel. He's got 3. When you reap, which is turning him sideways to gain an amber, you could use a friendly non-Sanctum creature, which means you could, again, choose one from outside of Sanctum. I got another one of him. And I got another one of him. So I got 3 of him. It's kind of neat. Potion of Invulnerability. Let's see what this is about. This is an item. It's an artifact. So it's Omni, which means, I'm pretty sure that means you could play it on it, you know, even if you're not using Sanctum that turn. So if I'm using that shadow, if I call the shadow as my house, I could still use this. I think that's what that means. Sacrifice Potion of Invulnerability. For the remainder of this turn, each friendly creature cannot be dealt damage. So that's pretty cool. So you can pretty much sacrifice this, and all your creatures can like attack all they want and never be dealt any damage, and they won't die. So I got 2 of those. That's cool. And it gives you an amber when you play it too. Like I said, there's quite a few cards in this deck that provide amber when you play it. Here's another one. Sacrifice Gorm of Ohm. Destroy an artifact. That could be pretty handy. If your opponent has an annoying artifact in play, this will get rid of it. Even if you have to destroy your own artifact, maybe it's harming you. Choose a house. Okay, so this is Binding Light. This is an action. Play. Choose a house. Stun each creature of that house. Now what stun is, it's just kind of a way to make a creature take an extra turn before it could do anything. So in this game, when you play a creature, it comes into play sideways, meaning it cannot attack, it cannot use its abilities until it turns upwards. But at the end of your turn, the card turns upwards. When you stun a creature, you put a token on him, and he can't do anything until he turns sideways and removes the token. So he'll come into play, say, turn sideways. If you had a token on him, you would have to wait a turn, the end of turn, turn it up, then on your next turn, turn him down, take the token off. So it's kind of like you get to use this creature, not your next turn, the turn after that. Kind of an interesting concept. So I got 2 of those. Plus it gives an amber. Not bad. So now we're into the aliens. Got some more cards here. These are providing amber. You can see up in the top there. This one's called Biomatrix Backup. This creature gains, so it's an upgrade. It goes on top of a creature. Destroyed, you may put this creature into owner's archives. So that's a whole other thing. The archives are a little bit confusing. Essentially, you move them out of the game. Any card that gets archived gets moved out of the game. Then at the beginning of your turn, when you choose your house, you can move all those archives back to the hand. Kind of an odd thing. It's different. I haven't actually explored that yet. So I got 2 of those. So obviously this deck tries to focus on using the archive file. Vazima Think Drone. That's cool. Another alien. You may archive a friendly creature or artifact from play. So basically take something from play and archive it. Almost as if you're going to use it later. That way it's out of your hand, it's out of the field, it can't be destroyed, it can't be discarded. And then in one turn you could just bring it all back and have a massive hand. And there we go, is this guy? The aliens have got really weird names. ULYQ. I don't even know how you'd say that. Ulik Megamouth. Ah, he's a Megamouth. He's a big alien Megamouth. Fight/reap, which means when he reaps to grab amber or when he fights a creature, use a friendly non-Mars creature. So he's a Mars creature, so I'd be able to use one of my Sanctum creatures as well. It's kind of neat. So I got 2 of him. So far a pretty interesting deck. John Smith, or Smythe, however you want to pronounce that. Kind of funny that an alien would have that kind of name. He's got 2 attack value. Elusive. I like this ability, Elusive. You can literally, it basically says when you fight a creature, when you attack a creature, no damage is dealt to it that first time it attacks. So you can ram this guy into a 9-power creature and he won't die. It's kind of funny. And when he fights or reaps, ready a non-agent Mars creature. So you could use his fight ability, ram into the biggest creature you want, he won't die, he'll give him 2 little measly points of damage, and then you'll get that effect. Kind of neat. Got another John Smith. We got a Grabber Jammer. 4 attack. This one has the shield, 1 shield. Essentially what the shield does is, say he's got 4 health. If my opponent did 4 damage to him, it would -1 from the shield. But then after that, that 1 is gone for the remainder of the turn. So if they say did 2 damage to him, it would only do 1 because it would -1. And then after that, whatever damage gets done to him, it ignores this because it's already done. It's an interesting concept. Interesting way of changing the whole attack defense concept. Your opponent's keys cost 1 more amber. Now this is something that can slow your opponent down. So that means instead of 6 amber, they need 7 amber to forge a key. So you can slow them down while you're working up. And then it says fight reap, capture 1 of their amber, which is neat. So not only are you slowing them down, but now you're also stealing their amber. This is a weird name. Blip, Bip, Blip, Bip, I don't know. BLYPYP. Any way you want to say that. Blip, Blip. Reap. the next Mars creature you play this turn enters play ready. So what that essentially means is when I said the creatures come into play sideways, you play this one, or you reap with this guy, you get an amber. Your next Mars creature you play this turn is going to come into play ready to attack or use its abilities. It's also good if a creature comes into play stunned with its own ability, you can actually unstun him on that same turn he comes into play. We got an action here. This is swap widget. Sorry, this is an artifact. Yeah, this is something I heard too, is that people get confused with the artifacts and actions. They almost look the same, the card templates and stuff. And some people think it's an action. They play the artifact like it's an action, and they put it right in the grave or the discard pile. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure if it's an artifact, you're not, because they also come into play sideways, so you can't use them right away. So this one is to turn it sideways. Return a ready, friendly Mars creature to your hand. If you do, put a Mars creature with a different name from your hand into play and ready it. It's kind of like swapping your creatures. It's kind of neat. Squawker. This one also gives you some amber when it comes into play. Play it, ready a Mars creature, or stun a non-Mars creature. This is an action, so you just play it and then it goes. You're essentially just turning something like this to this. That's what you're doing with that. So you could essentially on a turn drop a creature down. He would be sideways. You could use that to bring him into attack mode. Key Abduction. Let's see what this is. This gives an amber as well. This is an action. Play. Return each Mars creature to its owner's hand. Then you may forge a key at +9 current cost, reduced by 1 for each card in your hand. That's a weird one. So essentially it's allowing you to forge a key. Now the other thing about forging keys is you can only forge a key once per turn at the beginning of your turn. So if you have 12 amber at the beginning of your turn, you can't forge 2 keys. You can only forge 1. And then you have to wait till your next turn to forge the second one. So I don't know if this allows you to actually forge a second key on the turn, or if it just allows you to forge a key if you didn't forge a key that turn. It's one of those rules that I have to look up in the on the website and stuff. They have a forum. You can go in there. There's people asking questions, and you can find out. Like maybe even post a question. That I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird things. And we got another upgrade. This deck has quite a few upgrades, and it gives an amber. This creature gains Reap, deal 4 attack to a flank creature. Now what a flank creature is if you have creatures on the board, this creature is on the flank. And then if they was over here, he would be on the flank. So it's kind of an odd way. Like you have to put your creatures down, and they don't move until, say, one of them dies. You got, say, 3 creatures, one of them dies. You'll have a gap. You squish them together. So your creatures always stay in the same lineup that you summon them to the field. But yeah, that's it. That's one deck of KeyForge. I kind of liked what I saw there. Now I'm gonna have to test it to see how this deck runs, to see how it draws, you know, to see what the combinations are. It looks like it tries to gain a lot of amber. It tries to steal a lot of amber, and that could be its path to victory. It didn't seem like the creatures in there were very strong. They seemed like there was a lot of weak ones in there, a lot of 3s and 2s, a few 4s. So going up against other decks that'll have like 5 power creatures and stuff like that might be a bit of a challenge. So be interesting to see how this plays out. Anyways, hope you liked the video. I just wanted to do like my, you know, kind of like a second video on this. Just kind of run through the rules on this very briefly. I mean, if you're interested in this game, I would suggest going to the website, look it up online. You can find the PDF and read through it. Otherwise, you can probably get your hands on a starter kit. I hear they're kind of rare right now. There's, you know, they didn't keep up with the demand, and you know, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of stores might not have them yet. So you might only find the decks. So if you find the decks, you know, you can get yourself the deck, go online, get the PDF. And then the other thing is tokens and stuff, dice, counters, whatever you need to do to keep track of damage, keep track of your keys, your amber. Currently I'm using little playing cards. It works so well. But that's just me. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Throw any questions down below. Talk to you later.